Hey guys, today I've got a 2010 Toyota Matrix and I'm going to be changing the struts and lower control arm and ball joint. The control arm bushings need to be replaced. However, I found a control arm with the ball joint already in it, so why not change them both while we're there. The garage quoted about 1,500 bones to do this job, and I shopped around, which they wouldn't normally do, but I got everything for 500 bucks. Now we're just going to go ahead and pull the strut out. I've already taken the wheel off and the upper strut bolts, which I'm sure if you want to tackle this job you're capable of doing without seeing in that. Now hopefully by watching this video you can do this yourself. It's really easy. Complete struts are really easy, and I hope that this saves you money in the end. I've gone ahead and got the control arm, one for each side. Just make sure obviously you get the right one for the right side. There is a left and a right. Here's my strut assemblies. On this vehicle there is a left and a right because there's a sway bar link that connects from the sway bar to the strut, and this one is for the passenger side. But just for purpose of reference, this is our strut and this is our control arm and ball joint, and we'll go ahead and start putting those in. Now I wouldn't normally say which size bolts are here and there when I'm taking them out because they do vary from vehicle to vehicle, but these upper strut bolts are 22 mil to start, and I'll just go ahead and back those off now. Got lucky on the top one, it didn't spin, but the bottom one we're going to have to hold with a wrench. Perfect. Now we've got a little ABS sensor bracket here we got to pop off. The upper sway bar link is sometimes a challenge because the inside will want to turn. So we'll either try and hold the joint from the back, and if not, we'll put an Allen key in the front and see how that works. Okay, so just as I thought, as I tried to back this nut off, just the whole assembly's turning, so I'm going to try and grab it from the back side, which would be my best bet, and then hopefully spin off this nut. Alright, so I got my vice grips on the back of it. Now, I gave it a little shot of WD-40, which won't hurt, and we'll see if we can get it off. We got it. Okay, so now I'll just take off the one strut bolt I used to hold it in place up top. And that's it. So now we've got our new strut to put in, and the first thing we'll do is put it up through the top. Just run a couple strut bolts up top, finger tight, just to hold it in place for now. As I said before, don't forget that this hole is for the driver's side for the sway bar link. Now the first thing we'll do is put our strut rod back in place. Have to push down on the sway bar link a little bit to get it in, which is a little bit challenging. But if you move the strut out and reduce the angle, sometimes it doesn't go in there too bad. This little sway bar link chose to be very challenging to put back in because there's quite a bit of tension on the sway bar. Would have been easier with two people. I'm sure you weren't interested in seeing me struggling with it for 20 minutes, but it's back in now. And we'll go ahead and zip this up. Okay, we'll just go ahead and snug these lower strut bolts up. We've got our flex line to reattach. And also the ABS sensor to reconnect. On these lower strut bolts, I used a 22 mil socket. Depending on where you're from, you can use 7/8. It's the same thing. I've got a 7/8 wrench on this end. And that just about does it for down here as far as the strut goes. Now we'll just go up top and do up the 3 strut bolts. So this new strut came with nuts for the top strut bearing here. If yours didn't, it's no big deal. You don't need to use them, but just be prepared for different styes, because the ones I took off are 14 mil and these ones are 15 mil. Okay, so there we have it. Typically struts are pretty easy on their own, but in this matrix it was about the same. It's the 3 bolts up top and the 1 sway bar link bolt, which proved to be a little challenging. There's another bolt back here that holds the flex line and ABS line on. One just little plug here for the ABS wire. These 2 big strut bolts, and that's it. Your strut comes out and you're ready to put in your new one. So now this is done, we'll go ahead and tackle the lower control arm and ball joint assembly. So on the front of this control arm we've got a bolt here. It's 18 mil, or no, it's 19 mil. This bolt here is 19 mil or 3/4. And there's this one, it's got a nut on top. There's the head of the bolt down there. Again, it's 3/4 or 19 mil. And then our ball joint is there. It's a little smaller. It looks like 17 mil. But we'll go ahead and take those 3 out and we'll see how that goes. Got one out, partially. Now we'll go ahead and try this one. Well, that one was super easy. Now we'll do this bottom ball joint, and unfortunately it's got to be cranked out by hand. There's a cotter pin in there. I'll try and get it out. If I can't get the cotter pin out, I'll just spin it out with the nut. I gotta double wrench it. I'll just go ahead and continue spinning it out. Okay, we've got our nut off. I'll just go ahead and bang that with the hammer and it should pop out. And if the hammer trick doesn't work, like it didn't for me, because there isn't much room there, we'll just stick a fork in there. There we go. And by pull, I mean pry a little. There we go. We've got our lower control arm out. Match it up with the new one. Looks the same to me. Don't forget to take off this ball joint protector before you put it in, otherwise it'll be a challenge. We'll keep this nut off. And now we'll just go ahead and install this new control arm. So kind of the same thing as we did a reverse. What we did taking it out, we'll put it in the side over here first, which is pretty much just slid right in. Might just need to tap it a little bit. There we go. Now the front bushing, which will need to be persuaded as well. It's in place, and that's it. These bolts can go back in. Alright, so we got our front bolt back in here. Just have to tighten it up, and the same with the back one. Just got to tighten it up. And our bottom ball joint is back in. Just have to snug it up and then put the cotter pin back in, and that'll be it. We'll go ahead and do that now. Our bolt here is a 19 mil, so we'll just see if we can snug it up another turn. Okay, we're there. Just put our cotter pin through. Give it a little bend. Not like this nut will ever come out, but if it did, that would be bad. And that's it. In an hour, I was filming and also working with one hand. We've changed this control arm, ball joint, and strut. So I hope you find this video useful. I'm going to go ahead and do the other side now, but there's no point in me taking you over there with me because it's just the same as this side. I hope by watching this saves you money, keeps you out of the garage. They tend to charge you a lot more than they need to. I know because I work there. But there is a large overhead, so I can see where it comes from. But there's nothing wrong with saving a buck. We'll see you guys again next time. Hey guys, so I just came over here to do the other side. I got the other strut on, no problem. I just came to change this lower control arm. And as you can see, the bolt here will not come out because it hits the oil filter housing, to my surprise. So there's 3, 4, 13 mil bolts that have to come out to take this oil filter housing off. Now be prepared to catch some oil when you take that off and top it back up, but this needs to be removed in order to get this front control arm off. Just wanted to update you guys on that in case you're doing the passenger side as well, or just the passenger side.